second. Okay, so the YouTube page is started. It's going to be a little more smooth on YouTube, so if you want to slide over from Facebook to YouTube, I recommend you do that. Otherwise, just keep watching. I'll do my best to show it here as well. Let me get the slides up that I want to talk about tonight. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Looks like people are starting to jump on. In case you don't know who I am Kurt Klaipier, the Wisconsin solar guy. And a little bit about me. Sorry, I'm pulling up these slides. I thought I had them pulled up, but my computer crashed. So a little bit about me is I'm born and raised in Utah and love the solar industry. I've been following it for a number of years, watching its trends, and decided finally it was time to get involved, and decided that Wisconsin was the market to do that in. I know everybody thinks that's strange with how many cloudy days we have here. So I packed up and I moved my family to Wisconsin, and here I am. So I go around, I knock on people's doors, and I talk to them about solar. And I apologize, I've asked my kids to be quiet, but it's bedtime, so you might hear them. So I talk to people about solar, right? And as I talk to people, there's lots of people out there that want to think about it, want to talk about it, but they're skeptical that they're going to get sold something, or that they're going to make a bad decision, or that solar doesn't really work. And so for that reason, I decided it was a good idea to do these broadcasts. And on these broadcasts, I'm going to just go over things that you need to know about solar so you can make an educated decision. And if it interests you, then you can contact me. We can talk in more detail about what you need for your solar system and what it might save you or might not save you, all those different things. And we can go from there. But tonight, I've prepared some slides for you, so I'm going to share my screen with you here. And I'm going to show you what you need to know before you go or don't go solar. Let me switch my camera so you on Facebook can see these slides. Okay, I don't have a good stand for this, so forgive me. If you want to see these better, go to YouTube and follow along. I posted the link on Facebook. All right, so a couple things. There's 5 things you need to know and you need to consider before you go solar or don't go solar. Once you understand these 5 things, it might be a no-brainer. You might say, yep, let's go solar. You may think, you know what, I need a little bit more information. I need to understand in more detail, and that's fine too. Or you might think, you know what, it's obvious now, solar is not right for me. So let's jump right into it and go over these 5 things that you must know before going solar. Don't be sold solar without understanding these things. So first off, we're going to talk about how traditional power works versus solar energy. All right. So just some basics of how solar affects the environment. It's the equivalent of not driving, an average solar system is the equivalent of not driving 60,000 miles. It's the equivalent of not burning 16 tons of burnt coal. And it's the same as planting 2,400 trees in terms of positive impact on the environment. So by going solar, it's not very feasible. We've looked into it, to putting 2,400 trees in people's yards. Since that's not very feasible, going solar is the next best option. So traditional power, okay, there's a power plant. I happen to drive past the one here in Milwaukee every single day when I go meet with people about solar. And I see its pollution putting out over Lake Michigan. And basically it creates power. It goes through all these different channels. You see these ugly power lines running everywhere. And then it gets to your house. You're paying for all the distribution to get it there, the creation of it. You're paying for all those costs as a coal power customer. So how does solar work? Well, you put solar panels on your roof. The solar panels essentially create power. This is the simple version of what they do. Creates power, and sends that power back to the grid. Okay? As it sends it back to the grid, you will get a credit. Essentially, the power company will buy that back from you and give you a credit for the energy that you create. So where solar can save you money, you hear about saving you money, is if you can create enough power that it lowers your power bill enough that it saves you money. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, ask me a question. Okay. The second thing you need to understand is how the power companies work. All right. Nationwide, the average power company has raised their rates about 6% over the last 10 to 20 years. Here in Milwaukee, it's We Energies. This graph here is off of the Milwaukee Journal's website. I did not create this, so I'm assuming their data is correct. They figured out that We Energies raised their rates almost 72% over 5 years. That's 4.8% a year. Okay, so by switching to solar, it gives you control over your bill. When you go solar, you're going to figure out how much of your electrical usage, how much of your power can be offset by the solar power your system creates. However much it offsets, let's say it offsets 90%. That means that it leaves only 10% that's subject to your power company's rates and increases. All right. So when you go solar, you're gaining control of your bill and you're not subject to rate changes from the power company. So that's the main reason people will go solar. Just one second. Okay, hopefully that makes sense why you want to consider controlling your own bill and having an option besides what's always been a monopoly in the power industry. All right, the third thing you need to understand about solar is that there's two ways to buy solar, okay? You can purchase your solar or you can finance your solar. There's pros and cons to both. Purchasing saves you the most money, all right, but it requires an investment. Financing saves you less money, but you can finance your solar panels for $0 down, and you can do it for $0 to $30 per month on average. All right, it varies from house to house, and it varies on your needs. And I apologize. Give me 1 second to talk to my children. Okay, our first broadcast here is a disaster. That's what I get for trying to do it at night. I'll have to do it at the office next time with 4 kids running around. So the two ways to buy solar, okay, you can purchase or finance, like I was saying, but purchasing saves you more money, but it requires an investment. Financing saves you less, but can be done for $0 down and $0 to $30 per month is the average that I'm seeing here in Milwaukee. All right, the fourth thing you need to consider when going solar is what will the solar power cost and what will coal power cost you. So to determine what solar is going to cost you, there's some online tools that are free that claim to determine this. When I've compared those to our professional industry standard tools, they are terrible. They're never right. But if you want to try them, you can. There's different online tools. But what you need to do is you need to determine what solar is going to cost you, and then determine what power is going to cost you. I just put an article on WisconsinSolarGuy.com. I'll share it here on Facebook shortly. But I just put an article up that walks you through exactly how you determine how much power is going to cost you over the next few years. And also, you can look at that if you want to know that exactly. But you need to determine how much solar is going to cost you, how much power, regular power, is going to cost you, and then figure out the difference. The difference is your savings. All right, so if solar costs you X amount to create X amount of power, and you're going to spend Y if you stick with your power company, then the difference between those two numbers are your savings. So you need to compare those and see if there are any savings and how big they are, and if they're big enough savings to motivate you to go solar. If your motivation to go solar is the environmental reasons, then you should always go solar because those are always there. But if it's for savings primarily, then these are the things you need to consider, at least in Wisconsin. All right. The next thing you need to consider, actually, before I show you this, I want to point one thing out that a lot of people don't understand. Let me skip ahead real quick. A lot of people don't understand this about solar in Wisconsin. They have what they call monthly true-ups, which means that whatever power you create, if you overproduce, in this example, they're not overproducing. We do that by design. If you overproduce, meaning you create more power than you use, then We Energies only buys that back at a fraction, like a third or a fourth of what you pay for power with We Energies. Where if you underproduce, then everything you create, they buy that back from you at retail value, or they credit your account, in other words, at retail value. So you don't want to overproduce because then you're going to spend more money than you're going to see returned. So that's a good thing to know, because a lot of times solar companies will overbuild your system because they make more money. The bigger the system, the more solar companies make. So you want to make sure that you're not overproducing. Otherwise, you're not going to see savings. When I do designs for customers, I do like 10 different scenarios to see what offset saves them the most money with the current Wisconsin laws. And it's rarely 100%. It's usually between 50 and 85% where I see the highest savings. So again, the fifth thing you need to understand about solar are the 5 reasons to go solar in Wisconsin. First, it's clean, renewable energy. Second, you can have control over your power bill. We spoke briefly about both those things. Third, it's an investment in your home. If you want to know more detail about that and how much it really does raise your property value, then you can check out my blog where I wrote the article about the article. What was the article title? The article is titled, "Should I Go Solar If I Might Move?" And it walks you through how to estimate your home's resale value with solar and try to determine if it's worth going solar if you might move in a few years. All right. Then fourth reason people go solar is for the federal and state incentives, financial reasons. And the fifth reason, and one of the bigger reasons, is long-term savings. All right. So you want to calculate what those savings look like and compare those two. So the next steps, right? If you are interested enough in solar, you need to determine all these things I walked you through. Okay, you need to determine how much of your bill you're going to be able to control. We call that an offset. You need to determine, by putting solar on your roof, will you be able to control 100% of your bill? Or in other words, offset 100% of your utility bill? Or will you only be able to do 50%? You need to determine that, because that's going to factor in if it's right for you. Then you need to determine which way of purchasing solar is better for you. The bigger long-term savings by purchasing it outright, if that's an option, or is it better to have a low monthly payment and not save as much long-term? So you need to determine that. All right, then you need to figure out what the solar system is going to cost, determine how much power it will create, and compare that to how much you're going to spend if you don't go solar. In order to do that, you can try to do it with online tools. You can try to create those comparisons, get some estimates, but they're not going to be very accurate. But if you don't want to talk to someone in the industry, you like just doing your homework on your own, then that's the way to go. If you'd like to look at it more precisely, specific for your home, I invite you to contact me. I'm the Wisconsin Solar Guy. You can contact me for a free consultation. I will do a design. I can do it all over the phone. I prefer to come to your house and show the results to you. But if needs be, if time's not permitting, I can go over everything with you on the phone and figure out exactly how much power it will create, how much it will save you, if anything, compare that to what you're spending with your power company and everything else. So to get a hold of me, lots of ways. I've put my phone number here on the screen. You can call me, text me. You can email me at kurt@wisconsinsolarguy.com, kurt@wisconsinsolarguy.com, or my favorite form of communication, reach out to me on Facebook, facebook.com/Wisconsin Solar Guy. All right, that's it for the 5 reasons why the 5 things you need to know before going solar or not going solar, the 5 things you need to determine before going solar. Again, those 5 things are: understand how power works versus solar power, understand how little control you have over your bill if you stick with the monopoly, if you stick with the status quo of your power company, understand the 2 different ways to buy solar and the pros and cons of each, and know which one might or might not be feasible for you. Then understand what solar power is going to cost versus what you're going to save versus how much you're going to spend in solar energy over the next several years. All right. Then understand the 5 main reasons to go solar. Get the details specifically on how these look on your home. You need to understand exactly what can you expect if you invest this in your home. How much more likely are people to buy your house? How much more likely are they willing to pay if your house has solar? There's some ways to estimate those things. You need to understand that before you go solar. Next, you need to understand the federal and state incentives. Which ones will you qualify for? There's a $2,000 incentive in the state of Wisconsin that not everybody qualifies for. So sometimes people get overpromised and they don't end up qualifying for that incentive. So you need to understand specifically what incentives you qualify for. These are time sensitive. So yeah, you can go solar whenever you want, but states are starting to roll back the rebates. The federal tax credits are available till 2022 at least. All right, then you need to know what your long-term savings are. Again, you figure that out by comparing what you spend on solar versus what you spend on regular electricity, and how much the solar system is going to cost you. Okay, so to do that, you can do it on your own, online, try to figure it out and estimate it. But to be exact, you need an actual engineer to do it. That's what we do. That's what my guys do. I'll have an engineer design a system for you. I'll figure out which one saves you the most money. I'll show you a design similar to this one for your home. I'll show you exactly how much power you use each month versus how much the system will create each month. And then I can give you an idea of exactly what your cost is going to be for solar, how much it's going to lower your bill. I lower people's bills depending on the size of their system. I lower their monthly utility bill anywhere from $20 a month on small systems to $132 a month on large systems. Okay, it just depends on your needs, but I'm glad to do a design and show you this. Again, once I've done a design for your home, all I need to do a design for your home is I need to know your name and your address, and I need to know how much power you use. Super easy to get. I can show you how. Then I can either come by your house and go over that with you, or I can email it to you and discuss it with you over the phone. I prefer to do it in person because it makes more sense. I'm more charismatic in person than I am online or over the phone, and I feel I'm better at understanding your questions and answering them in person. But if that doesn't work, or you don't trust me enough to bring me into your house, that's fine. I can do this all over the phone. So reach out to me through social media, or send me an email, or call me. My number's on the screen. Text me, whatever. Get a hold of me, and I'll do a design for you. We'll see if solar makes sense for your home. Thanks for your time, and see you next Wednesday. If you want more information, next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, we'll be doing a live broadcast again. Hopefully it will go more smoothly. And on that, we'll do a group meeting where we will discuss in detail the 5 reasons people go solar in Wisconsin. So these 5 reasons right here, we'll go over these in detail, showing you some examples of what kind of savings and things you might be able to expect, some examples of how much a resale improvement you might see on your home as an investment on your home, how much you might be able to see in tax incentives, and so on. So we'll go over that in more detail, the 5 reasons to go solar in Wisconsin next week. So hopefully this was informative, and hopefully you'll join us next week. And if solar is starting to interest you, then join the movement and contact me, and let's get you a design and show you your options. Talk soon.